everyone, it's Jenny from Homestead Corner, and today I wanted to talk about the impending housing crisis. Before we get started, I just wanted to say I hope you all are staying cool as you can, and remember to keep hydrated. If you've got a fan, use it. This heat is unbearable. It is over 100 degrees here in Maine again today, and it's just too much. It's really hard to keep up with, and you want to make sure you're getting plenty of fluids and keeping hydrated, because this is so dangerous for our health and to have this extended into a long time. So it looks like in a few days in our area we're going to get a let up. We have another hot day we're looking at tomorrow, and then possibly, and I'm hoping, some rain. Just a little bit of rain would be awesome, but possibly a little bit of rain for a couple of days off and on, it looks like. So we will take any little teeny bit of rain we can right now. My goodness, it is so dry and so hot. So stay hydrated, and let's get into this video. Today I wanted to talk about the impending housing crisis. I don't think this is going to be, just this one thing. There's going to be so much more coming that we all need to be aware of, and everyone, even if you own your own home or you're renting or whatever, I think we really need to keep on top of this and see what we can do to secure our homes the best we can for the long haul. Because as the prices continue to rise up and up and up on everything else, even if you're able to maintain your job, which would be absolutely wonderful, because a lot of people are still losing their jobs. Businesses are still closing. It's not getting better. The prices are rising. So if you can keep your job, and you can keep your, if you're renting and you keep your rent or your mortgage even at the same level, if you've got a fixed rate, that's wonderful. But as you have to pay more and more and more for groceries and clothing and services, if you have to have your car fixed or anything like that, it's going to make it that much more difficult to continue to pay your mortgage or your rent. So that is going to be a big challenge for a lot of people as prices continue to rise, because there is no end in sight on this, and we really need to pay attention to it. And, even people that own their homes, lock, stock, and barrel, it's all paid off, there are things that you can do. Paying your taxes ahead if possible is a wonderful thing. Check with your town. I know our town allows us to pay, we could pay $10 million in advance if we wanted to. They'll totally let us. And I believe most towns and cities will allow that. If you're able to pay ahead, then while your money is still worth something, getting those taxes paid ahead so you don't get your property, repossessed because of a tax lien or something like that. Months down the road, a year down the road, if you lose your job and you can't pay those taxes and you've got them paid ahead, you don't have to worry so much right away. It will give you some time to figure out how you're going to get back on your feet, how you're going to get that stuff done. I think if we look back on the Great Depression, I don't think it's going to be exactly the same, but I think it gives us a good indicator of what can happen. I mean, these people went through really hard times. They really struggled, and so many people lost their homes. They really did. The government and the towns and state, they don't feel bad for you. They want their money. They don't care. They are going to come after your house if you don't pay your taxes, or the bank will come after your house if you can't pay the mortgage. That, this is not going to be something that they'll be like, oh, well, we'll catch up later. They're not going to be able to wait 10 years or 5 years or anything like that, to catch up later. They're going to want their money, and they're going to want it right away. So the Great Depression started, back in, I think it was 1929, and in 1933, they say, I was looking at an article online, and it says 273,000 people lost their homes in 1933. That is a hell of a lot of people, my God. And over the next year, 1,000 mortgages a day were foreclosed on. So by the time the end of the Great Depression, banks and the government owned most of the property. So this is something that we really need to look into, taking the time to, figure out how can we pay ahead. How can we stretch this out? How can we secure this? Do you have if you're a renter, do you have a good relationship with your landlord? Maybe you could help out with some stuff if you get stuck. If you get in a spot where you're really struggling for your rent, a lot of times a landlord will, let you do some work around the properties that they own to help out and cover part of your rent. And that may be helpful for a lot of people. And, it's just, these prices rising and everything that's going on, this is not going to go away anytime soon. This is something that we could be dealing with in 5, 10 years, even longer. You just don't know. And, we can't predict it that it's going to happen tomorrow or it's going to end next week. We just don't know. So being prepared for stuff like this, I think, is really important. And if the banks and the government for taxes or whatever are repossessing apartment complexes and buildings and stuff like that, they are not going to throw you out in the street, unless you're not paying. If you are still able to pay your rent, they're going to want to keep you there because they're going to want that money. They're not getting it out of the landlord. They're going to want it from the tenants. They're not going to want you to leave. They're going to give me the money. And no matter how much inflation is, they're still going to want the money. No matter how worthless it is, it's not going to matter. So just, keeping in mind things that we can do to help stabilize for ourselves and help keep us in our homes, I think, is really important, because this is going to be absolutely nuts. Homeless people, it can take them years and years and years of being on the street before they can get into a home. So I think it is super important for us just to take a little bit of time and see what is it that we could do to ensure the long haul for our homes and things like that. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this, and just a heads up, you can still lose your home even if your home is completely paid for. They want their taxes, and they're not going to let you slide. Maybe an extra month or two, but not a real long time. They are not going to let you slide. They will take your house and sell it to someone that can afford it, or they'll sit on it. It doesn't matter. They're not in it to care about your situation. They're in it for the money. And that's it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.